Yes, we are.
I'm really trying to bring up the thing. I want to make sure
I surprisingly, I actually did read a couple more. Read it a couple times. I'm usually a terrible person.
Yeah.
Did you get me? I did. It's not too often we got this many people here. Put that on a website. Yeah, 2 years. Last time was
I gotta stop the homegrown happiness.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
I know. I gotta go.
Okay, it's 6:01. Just a reminder, if you have cell phones, please shut them off, and council, please turn your microphones on. Henry, do we have roll call, please?
Mayor Bain,
Here?
Councilor Baker,
Here.
Councilor Becker,
Here.
Councilor Lundstrom will be arriving shortly, correct?
That may not happen, he's on the road back from Midland.
Okay. Councilor Quinlan,
Here.
Councilor Scalisi.
Here.
Councilor Sherman. Here.
Okay, approval of minutes, you've all had a chance to look at the minutes from the meeting of February 11th. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted? So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Okay, before we get into visitors and delegations, we had a request from council to put skydiving back on the agenda for tonight. But I got word late this afternoon from staff that Orange Skies is no longer interested in the brush location, so I'm pulling that item from our agenda. I realize there may be many of you here came to speak to that issue. It's not going to be a discussion point because they're no longer interested in the brush site.
I got one question, please.
Go ahead.
Is it gonna be on the agenda next week?
I don't believe so, but I never say never, but at this point, they are not interested in our location. So there's nothing really for council to discuss, so that's the reason I'm pulling it from the agenda. Any further developments, you're always welcome to look at the agendas to see what is coming, but that's the state we're in right now. It's pulled from the agenda, so. Okay. Right, and we're going to have citizen we'll have visitors or delegations. We have some donations to present. After that, we're gonna move into citizen comment. You can still comment on that if you would like to. So I'll leave it at that. But council won't be talking about the subject tonight. based on the information that staff received late this afternoon. Okay? All right, moving on to visitors and delegations. We have quite a few donations to present tonight from the City of Brush to organizations. So as I call out the name of the organization, if we have a representative here, you're welcome to come up and say a few words if you like. The first one we have is, and I said this wrong last year. My wife laughed at me all night. I said the Brush Community Cupboard. And I didn't realize it's cupboard, right? I should have known that, so I'll say that correctly tonight. Do we have any representatives from the cupboard?
We are.
Come on up.
Well, we speak in the,
Oh, can you stand where the citizens can hear you
Ah.
at the podium? Okay.
Yeah, this donation from the city is for $1,000 to the Brush Community Cupboard.
And that's a food pantry that we hold in the Methodist Church in the basement every Thursday from 10 to 2, and a little later if the clients are still there. This last week we had 49 clients, but we average about 25 to 35. And it's all thanks to donations, so it's nice that you do this, and you're one of the ones that we would mention. And we have several, and we couldn't do it without them. So in the 5-minute time that we have, Rick
Oh, yes, I
is going to
can.
tell us.
I'd like to thank you for giving us a little credibility, and it makes our donors look better when you do this for us, okay? We do get quite a few donations from our area. We get from Fresh Foods. We get from JD's, the pizza place down here. Brush, Colorado Farmers, used to be the tomato factory, is what everybody calls it. They donate tomatoes during season. And then there's a lot of churches. We got the Brush Catholic Church, of course our host, the Brush Methodist Church, the Rankin Presbyterian Church, Emmanuel Congregational Church, and the Bethlehem Lutheran Church, and the Ebenezer Church. All those churches don't necessarily give us food, but most of them give us funds, and most of them give us people. Those are the people that run the whole party. And then we've been getting, since the school's been building a new school, we get Adolphson and Pedersen have been giving us a donation every year around Christmas, which is very nice. We get Ackley Building Center loans us carts and things to move heavy things around with. But it isn't all just food. We need other things too. Hometown Hardware gives us the rights to use a trailer. If we ever need something to haul, we can borrow a trailer from them. And then the Big Bad Dudes Construction, that's BBD. I don't know what it stands for.
Oh, yes.
We needed some muscle one day, and they came and helped us.
Buildings by design.
We get stuff from Cargill in Fort Morgan, Walmart in Fort Morgan, and the Boy Scouts. Every year we get something from them. And your credibility just shows that these people are in the right business too. So we appreciate it and thank you a lot.
Well, we appreciate what you do to serve the community this way, because it's certainly needed.
Okay.
And of course, our big giver is Food Bank of the Rockies. We're
True.
kind of
Oh, okay.
an outstretch from them, and they bring food as they can and as they need it. And we also give out boxes, commodity boxes to senior citizens that are eligible, and that's another service that we can provide.
All right, fantastic.
And we did get one award just last week. We were, I think it was 600 meals short of 20,000 meals that we gave away
Oh, is that right?
last year. So
Fantastic.
we give away a lot of meals.
Well, here's $1,000 to help out the.
Appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you all.
And if you stick around, the organizations, I believe Kara's going to try to take a picture of the group of people here. So. Okay, the next we have on the list the VFW Post 3551. And this is a check for $1,500 to the VFW.
Good evening. I'm Commander Eric Christensen, and I appreciate this. Our plan to use this is to install a brand-new air conditioner on our building. In the past, we've had an old air conditioner that wasn't functional. It hasn't been operating for several years, and we found out that there is wiring to go to it. All we need to do is replace it and get the wiring connected. One big thing is getting a crane to lift it on there. But with this donation, we will have enough money to go ahead and purchase a brand-new three-phase air conditioning unit through Jack Spots. And Midwest Millwright has donated the time to use a crane to lift the new one up onto our building, get rid of the old ones. So instead of opening the back door, putting a fan there and blowing flies into the building to try and cool it down, at least we will have a cool building. So this will help us by having the capability of having a good, cool building in the summertime so people can use it for events. So we thank you very much.
Yeah, it looks like you're having more and more events at your place and stuff. I saw
We-
Larry Chartier had his 80th birthday there the other day. so-
Yes. We've had everything from baby showers, we've had a wedding party in there, actually a wedding. We've had funeral receptions. We've had, the Chamber of Commerce has had their Oktoberfest and beer garden in there. But the main thing is we've cleaned the building up. We are now family and community friendly. We don't have a bar anymore. We don't sell liquor anymore, so we're trying to be a responsible member of the community.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on our list, do we have anybody from Brush Area Chamber of Commerce? Okay, so, oh, there you are. I didn't pick you up. Okay, this is a, this is a good one too. So, this is a yearly contribution that the city makes to the Brush Area Chamber of Commerce for $14,500. Melody Christian is our executive director.
Wow. Thank you so much. We have such a great working relationship with the city. We want to continue that relationship. Your Cattle Baron membership, investor, helps with things that are happening downtown. Your contribution to Oktoberfest entertainment, that's how we get our entertainment with the Oktoberfest dance and that. The facade grant, dollars that you've given us in the past, helping businesses clean up the fronts of their building or put up new signs or anything like that. It's just been a really great relationship, and I want to thank you all very much for this generous donation.
All right, thank you. And I think we're hoping to get Christmas decorations or lighting better this year. So folks, look for that toward the end of the year. We're trying to make downtown look a little more Christmassy. Shop Brush. Right?
Most definitely, and then hopefully we can increase that to expand farther across Brush also.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, next on the list, Brush Rodeo Association. This is a check for the Brush Rodeo Association for $2,000 from the city.
Okay. My name is Randy Danielson. I'm president of the Brush Rodeo Board. With our 65th year this year, we got a bunch of new activities coming up. We want to make it more family oriented. And the contribution that City of Brush helps us with helps sponsor fireworks, which brings people into town. The activities bring people into town, so we're hoping that kind of expands, helps out the City of Brush, and we appreciate all your guys' help and support.
All right, thank you
All
very
right.
much. Next, we have East Morgan County Library. This is a $1,000 donation. Laura is our executive director.
I'm Laura, I'm the director at the library, and thank you for this. Excuse me, every year, we usually use it for taking care of the trees there in the park. We had over 70,000 visits to our library last year, and that park gets used a lot with 4th of July and the community dinner, and it does a lot to help us keep the trees in good order. And we lost one in the tornado last year, so we're gonna plant some more this year.
At Christmas time this year, you do the Christmas lighting at the park.
Yes.
My first year going down there, it was cold, windy. I didn't think you'd have a ton of people down there. My wife and I got there about 5 minutes before the tree lighting thing. I had to park 3 blocks away, run to it to get there. I didn't realize how many people came by to watch the Christmas tree getting lit, so.
We're a busy place.
All right, right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Thank you. Okay, next we have the Sarah Incorporated, Sarah House. Paula Bragg. This is a $500 donation to the Sarah House. Floor is yours.
Thank you, and some of you are new, I think. The Sarah House is a child advocacy center and sex assault program for the 13th district. So we've had the privilege of working with your new chief, and it's been really great. And so just having the new blood and his leadership has been awesome. So we look forward to a good relationship there. We have now 3 forensic interviewers. And I have 2 nurses part-time and 3 on-call nurses now. I have 2 additional victim advocates and 2 additional therapists. So every year we're growing, and seems like the work just keeps being more. So we really do appreciate your support in the work that we do.
There is a very, very big need in our community for what
There
you do,
is.
and it's a tough job. So
Unfortunately,
thank
there
you
is.
very much for
You're
that.
welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brush Centennial Senior Center. Do we have anyone? Please come up. This is a $1,000 donation to the Brush Centennial Senior Center.
I'm Carmelita Mayhew, treasurer of the Brush Centennial Senior Center Incorporated, and we use this money to reach out to the community. We have games, we have pool, we have lots of different things. We have bingo games, we have many ways that we can reach out to the community if they want to come. Also, we have a meet neat center that we volunteer for, and we help them to support them too. For anyone 60 years of age or older can eat for a suggested donation of $3, a noon meal. If they come at 12, they'll be served, and we are just we just welcome anybody that wants to come, has some free time to wanting something to do for just fun for the community.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Make sure I have the right one. I'll give somebody the wrong check, I get in trouble. Thank you very much. Next, we have United Way of Morgan County. Have anybody from United Way? This is a $250 donation from the city.
Hi, my name is Chandra Jacobs. I just started as the director at United Way of Morgan County. I'm very excited. We fund 19 partner agencies currently, and they are all nonprofits in Morgan County. So the donation that we get from you goes to those 19 partner agencies. We fund Ebenezer, Rising Up, Sarah, Share, and many other ones.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Next up, we have Mecha Maniacs 4-H. I believe this is the robotics division, isn't it?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is a $250 donation to them.
All right.
Kids that are building robots.
Well, my name is Russ Kalk. About 2 years ago, I assumed the lead mentor position on the robotics club, superseding Jerry Line. The team's been in existence for about 7 years now, and after last year's seniors graduated, our numbers are down a little bit this year, but basically we operate on an annual budget of about $16,500 right now, so this donation is very appreciated for that. What the Robotics Club does is provides an opportunity for students to get involved in a STEM activity beyond what they're able to do in the public school. We basically have 6 weeks to design and build a robot, and then take that robot to compete in Denver against teams that are literally from around the world. Most of the teams there's about 50 teams that show up at the Denver Regional. Most of those are from Colorado or surrounding states, but we have seen teams there from Japan and Mexico and Turkey, United Arab Republic, and so certainly it's an international competition. This year's team has done very well. I think our robot is going to go up and compete very well, so I'm looking forward to this year's competition. It's on March 21st, 2nd, and 3rd, so you are all invited up to the Denver University Ritchie Center if you'd like to observe that. So.
That's been there for several years, the same place?
Excuse me?
Was it there last year too? Is that the same place?
Yes.
The Ritchie Center, okay.
Right.
All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, okay. Next one is for NECAL, Northeast Colorado Association of Local Governments, for $3,500.
My name is Kenneth Mooney. I'm the Transportation Director for Northeast Colorado Association of Local Governments. We operate the public transportation in the 6 Northeast counties of Colorado. So we're serving approximately 9,300 square miles for transportation for our seniors, our disabled, and just our general public. Last year out of Brush, we ran almost 9,000 trips just for the Brush area zip code. We're pretty much funded by federal, state, and county and municipal funding. So we're a nonprofit organization, so your contribution is greatly appreciated to keep us up and running and keep the wheels turning.
All right.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, if we could have our organizations come up here to take a picture. I believe the reporter would like to take a picture of everybody that was involved with the organizations that we donated to. Pardon me? Yeah, right up here if we can.
Move this out of the way. You got enough room?
Yeah, maybe just move back a little. Thanks.
Get in the back.
Guys, squeeze in together. Pretend you like each other for a little bit. Yes, exactly. You got it, Mel. Do y'all want to come on over on this side, maybe? Do you want to come on over this side? Thank you. All right, everybody squeeze in. All right. Perfect. Okay. So take it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Which? Money. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Donations. Cheese.
Whiskey.
Yeah, cash. There you go. And awesome. Thank you guys.
All right. Thank you, Kara.
All
And thank you all very much for what you do for the community. Thank you.
One real quick administrative announcement is that with those donations, we don't typically give away lots of money every year, we're just doing it all in one night. But these donations, by August of each year, any groups that are looking for those donations, the city clerk takes those requests, and then those get run to the city council to determine who they're gonna fund for these donations. And there are some groups that we typically fund each year, like the chamber, NECAL, those groups that provide a continuous service. If it is a civic group, most of the time we limit those to like 3 times that they can come in for donations. So we try and spread that out a little bit. There's only a limited amount of funds to do donations with, so that's kind of how we manage those. So the key is that there's a request needs to come in by August each year, so that the council can look at those and decide who gets funding.
Okay, thank you. Next, 3B, presentation of our recreation master plan. Green Play, Lance is going to speak to that.
All right.
Introduce.
All right, finally, this has been a long process. About 2 or 3 years ago, council put it as one of the priorities for the city of Brush to get a recreation master plan. For 2 years, we spent writing grants to GOCO, trying to find funding for this master plan. We finally were able to find the funding. We were lucky enough to get Green Play, which Carrie's here to give the presentation tonight, to kind of give us the ins and outs of a master plan, and also basically conduct it. We've had a lot of community interviews, a lot of different meetings. It's been quite the process, and I think like I told Carrie last time she was here, I feel like this has been the ultimate job appraisal, because the community's been able to tell us what we're doing good and what we can do improve on, and then giving us kind of a roadmap for the future to see what we want to do over the next 5, 10, 15 years. And I think this plan at least puts us in the right direction, and it doesn't mean this is exactly what we got to do year after year after year, but we can work with this and move forward, and it'll be a great addition to the city, and then the community will be able to see what we're looking forward to in the future. So with that being said, I'll have Carrie come up and give us our presentation.
All right, thank you, Lance. Hi, everyone. I have to say and hi to those of you who I've seen before back this way. I apologize, my back's to you guys. I don't need to speak just to you guys. I'll try to speak to everyone. But before I get into my presentation, I want to say I'm so honored to be here tonight in this community to watch what just happened. That was really special to see how the city is contributing to all these folks who are doing really good stuff. Because in our process, Lance, we worked and heard voices from these communities and these partners, and I see it in action, and I think it's really great for the city. You're poised really well. So I'm excited because I saw things that are going to come out in the recommendations that some of your partners here should be very excited about. So that's good. I'm really glad. So thank you for having me tonight. So as Lance said, I'm Carrie Knold, and I am a project manager with Green Play. We're a national parks, recreation, and open space consulting firm. We do work all across the country. And like I said, I'm lucky to be here tonight in Brush to present to you the draft recommendations. And just so you know, as I go through my presentation, really what I'm looking for tonight is to make sure that you're comfortable with language. Like make sure that we're, if there are any sensitivities, if there's anything that you guys are aware of that we should amend in the recommendations, that's what we're looking for, okay? But I think you're off to an exciting time, so I'll get started. Okay, and so what we'll do is I'll just quickly go over the process, because as Lance said, it's been a while, it's been months now. Yeah, and I'll go over our process, and then I'll also go through the different themes that we have and what the recommendations are for addressing that. I won't get into the strategies per se, but more the objectives that we're looking at, okay? All right, and so, as Lance said, look, I think it was in September that we actually got under contract with you guys, and we had our strategic kickoff meeting in October. And then we began our information gathering in early January, and that's where I recognize a lot of the faces that, well, not a lot, but there's a handful of faces here tonight. Some of them left. And so we did our information gathering, and then we also had a survey that went out, and that went out to every household in Brush, as well as some that are in the school district, because we knew that Parks and Recreation services not just Brush residents, but people beyond your border, okay? So we did that. Then we also had the same survey was available online, and we had respondents to that. So we took all of that, and then we had a landscape architecture firm come out and do an inventory and level of service analysis. They looked at all the assets that not just the city owns and maintains, but also, again, some of your partners, some of the school district and the library, some of the properties that people are using because they don't care who owns it. They're out to use it for certain purposes. So we evaluated all those assets, did our analysis, and then we looked at trends that are relevant to the Brush community based on what we've heard. And then we came back and provided, oh, sorry, I said that wrong. We did that in November, information gathering. And then we came back in January. Sorry.
October for the information gathering, and then November was the
Community meeting?
no, the November was the survey that was sent out.
And then
is
January.
when you came.
Yeah, for our findings presentation. Yeah, sorry. I apologize. But came back in January and then provided our findings and visionings, where we looked at what are the things that are arising out of all of the things that we've studied and that we know about Brush and things that we've heard from the community. What are the things, and staff included, and folks up here on the panel here, we heard from you guys and said, what are the things that we need to be aware of? And so we took all that and we started recognizing that we have key issues and themes, and I'll present what those are momentarily. And then here tonight, we find ourselves at this draft recommendations phase, and should all go well and there aren't any substantive changes, we're looking at adoption of that master plan next month. So in March, you'd have that, and then that becomes a tool that the city can utilize, as Lance inferred, to start going after grant opportunities, partnership opportunities. It's what says, hey, our community, this is gonna work for us, and our council approves it, and he can get off and running, okay? So that'll be in March. And so when we looked at the key issues that were arising, we broke it down into several different themes, and this one is around organizational, marketing, and administrative themes. And this one really came up a lot, or especially around awareness and marketing efforts. And so we're glad to know that there's an intern on hand and helping with some of those things, and that you have a full-time city staff person who can assist with that. One of the things that we also recognized that was really strong here in the community is the support that you guys give the department. And we said that's really important, and for this to become something that can be utilized, we need to continue that support. So we recognize that. Like I said, communication and awareness, that came up as an issue where we recognized that there was probably, while it was good, there was room for improvement. We heard that the program registration software was a little difficult to use and probably not the best tool for utilizing it from an operations perspective. We know that we need to be succession planning, because people eventually do go, and we need to be planning in all levels of positions. And then we talked about the possibility of accreditation and certification. And then this last bullet under here is really key, and why I got excited with the chamber here is because understanding the economic and healthy community impact that Parks and Recreation has on the community, there's a huge opportunity here. And so we'll get into that. So when we then made our recommendations, we have strategies under each of these objectives. And so what we're looking at here is how do we go about working on efficiencies so that operationally they can get the job done with the resources that they currently have at hand. Then how do we improve marketing and communications? And like we said, we're already looking at one small step right here by having an intern here helping, okay? Then we know that there's professional improvement opportunities for staff. And then we also recognize that we want to be able to improve that capacity, so the space that they have for operations, and when you're talking about maintenance, okay, because that's something that maybe we don't have a plan in place. We realize that we're not planning for that, and so of course I'm sure you guys are thinking, ooh, maintenance, money, right? So we want to be planning for that, okay? So there's budgetary impacts there. All right, then when we looked at programs and service delivery, we recognized that there was really strong youth sports programs here in Brush, but maybe we have opportunity to expand beyond just sports, and what opportunities are there. And then that includes accessible programs, programs for older folks, Summer camps came up a lot, and then this issue around after school and childcare came up a lot. And it doesn't mean that it's necessarily the city's responsibility, but we need to recognize it as a city, that this is an issue for people in general. It may not be that Lance has to provide childcare. And in a way, I mean, they do through summer camps and youth programs and these things. But to have a specific child care facility, that may not be the role for him, but what can we do proactively to be thinking about that and working with partners? Okay? And then I added this one on here, this preservation of agricultural lands and the rural character of Brush, because in your comp plan, that comes up a lot. That is a big value of folks around here. And it came up a bit in our survey work, and so I wanted to just point that out, that there can be a role for Parks and Recreation in that space, okay? So when we look at those, we recognize that as we have opportunity to do improvements at our properties, we need to make sure that we're keeping in mind accessibility. So whenever we do a renovation, we need to be thinking about ADA compliance, you know, these kinds of things, making sure that we have ample parking. Then also in here, we want to make sure that we have a variety of programs. So where I said, like, we're really good at youth sports programs, let's maybe expand that a little bit. How do we go about doing that? That's the thought, okay? Because there are needs out there that are currently maybe not being met, okay? And again, this could be through programs, and you'll see that in the strategies. It's not just like Lance has to go try and, you know, create art programs. No, he has good partners out in the community. I don't see the library gal still here, but they do some wonderful work. So how do we partner in doing that? And then this piece around preservation of that rural character. And I mean, I see it tonight. So I live in, you know, outside of Boulder. Don't kill me. But I know, I probably shouldn't have said that. I said outside of Boulder, which means Lafayette. And we have a really strong open space program where we have preserved ag lands because we see them disappearing because of growth. So as you guys think about that next 10, 15, 20 years, to preserve the character of Brush, what does that mean for you? So we want to get you guys thinking that way, all right? I'm going to lay that out there. And there's some great tools to use. All right, so then this big piece around facilities and amenities, and this is a lot of the work that Design Concepts did around the inventory and level of service analysis, as well as hearing from your citizens. So, Memorial Park swimming pool, wildly loved, right? Really, really loved. Has maintenance issues, okay? Big fix, okay? But it's out there. Another issue that came up was trail connectivity. Your people here want to get around safely. They want to do that, and not just in Brush, outside of Brush. So what does that mean regionally as well? So where do we start? And there's some good things that have already been done, and so we're suggesting ways to build on the good work that's already there. Things associated with Memorial Park swimming pool, things that are trends, are these splash pads and other water play opportunities. It doesn't just have to be pools. Another one on here is this administrative office space, but Lance is already off getting started on that, yes?
Yep.
Yep,
We're
exactly.
getting there.
Yep, so that was really exciting because as you guys know, if you work in an office, sometimes you need privacy, right? Sometimes you need to be able to shut the door and get your work done. Athletic space is an issue. This issue around fitness space is very limited, and while we do, and I say we, I'm speaking on Lance's behalf here, while the city does work with the school district here, it's very limited access, very limited, okay? So gym space is another issue, and then, you know, is the need for a recreation center. Yep, I said it. I didn't say it. The community said it, actually, okay? But we can support that in the data that we have found. The campground, maybe in need of some improvements, right? That's what we heard. And then the use of the golf course clubhouse as a community facility. People really, really think that there's something to that, okay? So we want to support that. And again, this reliance on the school facilities, you know, is there opportunity as growth happens? You know, again, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 to 20 years, but are there opportunities to support that need with growth opportunities? So just be thinking about those things. All right, so what we said is, in chamber, this is where I was like, oh, I think she'll like this. How do we, you know, use our existing facilities to maximize those benefits, the benefits that Parks and Rec brings to your community? So what's already existing, because we did hear from the community in the survey that they would like to see you maintain what you have. It's not necessarily about going out and getting all new stuff. There was a strong preference for utilizing what we already have, okay, as your foundation. And then how do we promote economic development through the things that draw people to the city center? Okay, which was fun to hear you talk about, you know, the library park, and then decorations for Christmas, and how do you, you know, how excited you were, and you were surprised that many people were there. Well, we want to promote that using the services that and amenities that Lance is responsible for. So how do we do that, and how do we draw people to that city center? Because that's your economic core. So we have strategies in there. All right. Again, level of service. So this is that ADA accessibility. It's pretty limited, but we have thoughts around that, and there's good things that the city's already doing, and so we want to dovetail with those things. Generation of a maintenance plan. There's not one currently, and again, this can actually help with managing staff and finding efficiencies. All of these things start to interrelate. Maintaining a facilities assessment so that you're regularly assessing the condition of your facility. So maybe you don't get to the place where Memorial Park pool is like kind of in disrepair, so that you stay on top of it better. And how do you do that so that you can budget appropriately? And then this other issue that we looked at was walkability across the city. And there's actually, you're really good, like 70% of your folks can get around within like a 5-minute walk from their house very, very easily. They're able to access Parks and Recreation Services, 70%, but 15% are not. And so where are the opportunities for addressing those? So we have strategies in there, and a lot of that's working with Public Works, who I don't see Dale's here tonight. Yeah, Dale's not here tonight. But we have some opportunities for working with Public Works on addressing those. All right, so then again, it's how do we provide facilities that promote the character of who Brush is, what I saw tonight. How do you keep being who you are? And how does Parks and Recreation play a role in that? And meeting the economic goals, because again, when I was looking through your comp plan, that's came across pretty clearly that that's important to city leadership. So one, you'll see there, community gardens, right? That starts to get at rural character. So this is where Parks and Recreation can play a role. Doesn't mean that you have to go create an open space program, although you could do that. You could. But there are opportunities. And then this notion of the trail system in Brush. What does that look like? All right, and you already have some good things in place. You mentioned a route map that was already existent. So how do we build upon these things? Okay. All right, and then the last category that we saw for you guys is around this financial piece. And so we looked at fee structure for programs. You have really good community donors in the area. And then folks said, hey, everything that you guys do in Parks and Rec is affordable. We like that. Let's try to maintain that. One way that you can do this is through a cost recovery plan. And then also other ways that you can do this is obviously through partnerships. And then if you were interested in a sponsorship or naming rights policy, because that can help generate revenue. Okay, so right there we just laid out some strategies for establishing that sustainability so that the department can continue to provide the important services that your community relies on from that department, and how can we do that in a responsible way. So that's your master plan in a nutshell. We heard from nearly 400 folks in the community, which is great. We had a really good response to the survey. And I personally, our input sessions that we had with folks, I appreciated all their honest input, and it really helped. I mean, this is Brush. This is for Brush. We incorporate trends and we incorporate what we see as an industry, but really this is for you guys and for Lance. So, any questions? Anything make you squirm?
Was there anything that really stood out that everyone wanted, like ball fields, swimming pool, anything that really stood out?
I would say of the top 3 things, not in priority order, I'm just going to tell you 3 things: trail connections, Memorial Park pool, and athletic fields. And I'm going to say athletic fields, but I also mean gym space. So that's multi-purpose fields, ball fields, gym space, all in one nutshell for athletics. I said those are your top 3, and then followed by expanded programming.
The other question was, when you looked at the financial piece, I was trying to remember how you guys presented at the golf course that night, but something about our fees are very, very low compared to what you guys see in other places. And was there anything that stood out? I mean, are we 20% lower, 50% lower?
You know, there's honestly no real standard. It becomes a community decision, which is why we really, do you remember the cost recovery training that we did?
Yeah,
and
we
I
did
believe
that.
you were not well that day.
Well, I was there the first.
Yeah, for the first bit. But when you go through an exercise like that, it allows people in the room to decide together at what level do you want to subsidize certain programs. So, you know, access to a park is 100% subsidized. You don't charge to go into a park, right? But you might have an individual benefit program, like a yoga class could be, and different communities decide to do different things. Some people may think, no, that yoga class, it is a community benefit, and council decides, nope, we want to subsidize that at some level, 75%. I mean, it really, there is no rhyme or reason, but when you look at the category of services and where you might subsidize, it has to come from y'all. I could make suggestions all day long, but it really wouldn't do you any good.
One thing I like seeing that I think kind of dovetails with what council has seen is our park scored very, very well.
Yeah.
And it kind of dovetails with the community saying maintain what you got. If sometimes we think about expanding a park, but the other side of that is we only have a certain amount of manpower to really keep our parks looking good. And I think they look very good, and I think it's important to maintain what you have before you expand out and try to, you know, I don't want all the parks to look mediocre. I'd rather have fewer parks where they look really nice.
That's right.
And they work for people, so.
Yeah, and we see that in other communities where maybe they have decided to expand, but they don't, their budget didn't expand as that happened.
Right.
And so their level of service actually declines. So it is a trade-off. Yeah. Because it does. It costs money to operate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Council have any other questions? Well, I think we've got a good framework to go by.
I do too. I'm actually really excited for Brush. Like, I really am. I would love to come back and see it in 10 years and see what you guys have been able to implement, because it's, you have a great community who's really supportive, and y'all's support is right there with it. And I think it's great.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you
been a
very much
pleasure.
for your efforts. I
Yeah.
appreciate it
Thank you.
very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got a parents' meeting at the high school.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on to public comment. Over the last few sessions on public comment, heard comments that, sorry. And sometimes with a 3-minute time limit rule, I think Mr. Blake, you pointed this out, 3 minutes, you feel like you don't have enough time to get your stuff across. And we welcome. Yeah, no, and you know, I thought about that, and with 3 minutes, I think it does kind of rush people, and I don't want people to be rushed when they're trying to give their views. So I've asked that we go ahead and move our public comment to 5 minutes. if we have, and we don't get so much public comment that I think is gonna make our meetings really that much longer. If we had a big group and we had a big topic, I'd probably limit it to 3 minutes just for time concerns. But one of the changes I've made is we're gonna go to a 5-minute public comment period. I've also asked that we place a sheet over there that if you have questions that you need to get answered, if you just put your contact information on the sheets and the questions that you have, we'll have someone from staff get back to you. So that's another change we've instituted. But citizens are invited to speak to council on any item that does not have a public hearing scheduled. And the reason for that is if we have a specific public hearing, your comments are more appropriate to when that hearing has taken place during the management issue. So this public comment period is for anything that doesn't have a public hearing attached to it. Please note that no formal action will be taken on items not on our agenda during this time due to the open meeting law provision. We can't take action on items like that. However, they may be placed on a future posted agenda if action is required. With that said, is there anyone who would like to publicly comment tonight? Yes, sir. Please come up and give your name and address.
Good evening. My name's Greg Thomason. I'm Executive Director for Morgan County Economic Development Corporation. Originally, I planned to attend to talk about my support for the skydiving school that was considering the Brush Airport. With that off the table, I just want to make some comments that will dovetail into Ms. Knoll's comments. I support what she says about the importance of turning your community into a walkable community. You obviously have scored highly on that. I also support what she pointed out as being the economic benefits of recreational facilities in your community, but would also like the board to consider the importance of continuing to work toward creating Brush as a destination community, a community where people from the outside look to Brush for certain areas of recreation or other entertainment activities that they can go to on a regular basis. Your Chamber of Commerce director does an excellent job of putting on events on a regular basis. You've got your car show as well as your Oktoberfest. You've got the Brush Rodeo. But when you think of that, those are events that spike your outside destination attraction and then drop it off to where it's flatlining again. And with the opportunity that you considered a couple weeks ago at the skydiving school, you had an opportunity to have a 12-month-a-year attraction come into Brush and stimulate your economy. That being no longer being considered, I ask you to keep an open mind to other businesses that might want to come to Brush who could bring that 12-month-a-year destination appeal to your community, because that's really how your local businesses on Main Street are going to be able to not only survive but prosper. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you again for having me. Robert Farnham with High Plains Cattle Supply. I was going to be in opposition to you today. I thank you guys for having us. My comments have probably changed a little bit. One thing I'd probably more ask the city council, and with the economic development part of Morgan County and Brush, is maybe look at the flip side of the coins of how to adversely affect businesses, allowing new businesses to come to town and what they can do. I don't think anyone here is in opposition of, the business like of skydiving coming in. We're not here as anti-growth or anti-new business to our community. But we are in favor of sustainable businesses, which work for complementary nature with other local businesses and actually fits our community. You see our community up there, it's sunshine, it's cornfields. You have a corn and brush. You know, we're about agriculture in this town, and agriculture is very important. I believe all of us here aspire to the mentality that a rising tide raises all vessels. And we believe this is a rising tide for our community, that this skydiving would not be that opportunity in our opinion. Last time we were here, the city administrator speculated that the new business venture could bring in an estimated $176,000, if I remember correctly. To our local economic development, as a local business member, I don't have to speculate on what we put into this business every year. Our business does directly go into this community per year as a direct contributor to our local community. I know our business would have been negatively affected by this. Part of the reason that I know our direct contribution to this community is what I do through my profit loss every year. You know, we have been a member of the Brush Chamber of Commerce since 2014. I've been to multiple luncheons, going through there and try to be an active member as much as I could. But between 2014 and 2015, we invested over $1.5 million of our own capital into a business that was leaving this area, and that was Weiss Manufacturing. The second business that we helped take over was Dragger Feed and Supply. So we vacated 2 businesses out of there. We came in and replaced them and then added to the amount of jobs and the amount of economic development we put back into this community. With that being said, you know, we created 11 positions in this community, with our average salary being $53,000 a year combined to those 11 individuals, which puts in $583,000 of income into this community that we bring from outside this area. The other thing, since 2014, our company specifically has averaged $308,000 of direct expenses into Morgan County, into the city of Brush, and to the people that we use, not only from electrical, propane, construction, HVAC, trash disposals, you name it, hardware stores, auto parts stores, people like Danny's businesses and tires and mechanics. And what we use, we put a lot back into this community by keeping our money here in this community. Over the last 4 years, we've been #1 supporter and purchaser for our area's youth fair programs like 4-H, FFA. We've averaged a little over $33,000 each for the last 4 years of what we put into those programs and what we paid to purchase kids at not only this fair, but Akron Fair. We've averaged over $4,500 per year in donations to various organizations and fundraisers to programs around the city of Brush and around Morgan County. We pay an annual county property tax of $20,800 to this county for our facility up there. We pay a little over $3,000 per year in business property tax, personal property tax. For a grand total of what we directly contribute to this community is $952,300 every single year. So we have a huge stake in this game. And, you know, and I know we don't want to ever say anti-new business, and I'm not anti-new business, but I want business that's going to complement what not only we do as a community, but other businesses in the community too. And the skydiving wasn't going to be one of those endeavors, in my opinion. As a complementary business in our community, we positively affect other businesses in our community by the following. You know, as our company, we have 112 customers come in on an average day to our store, which is about 2,912 customers per month, and nearly 35,000 per year. That directly purchase something, less than 1% of our customer base is actually from the city of Brush. So that means we drag in a little over 34,000 people, not only from the Morgan County into the city of Brush, but we drag in from Washington County, Yuma, Sedgwick, Weld, everything as an epicenter to here. Now, to piggyback off of that, you know, there's a lot of other businesses, especially in the ag sector, that all work together to do this. Like I mentioned, between Danny and us, but between A&R Automotive, between JD's Auto Body here, between the Napa Auto Parts at CarQuest, you know, we get a customer coming into this area that's not only just going to skydive one-time event, but our customers will keep coming back because they like to do the business here. They can do other business here as far as auto parts, tractor services, you name it. The list goes on, and what keeping ag into what Brush is extremely important.
Expanded to 5 minutes.
Yep, I know.
Please wrap up.
So, our community is based on agriculture and a network of complementing business that feed into our whole community. And the 2 questions I only had to pose to you guys tonight was, the first one, you know, if this would have been your personal resident of business, would you been here on my side or you've been on that side if it's going to negatively affect you. And I think if it's going to negatively affect you like it's going to affect us, you'd have been in the same position we are today. And the second was, if this is such a great endeavor for now in Morgan County or Brush, then there's 20 rural airports that skydiving is an event that can happen at those airports between Colorado Springs to the Wyoming border out to Ray. And not one other of those outfits are clamoring to have skydiving there. I know Fort Morgan's actually going to have it, but at the end of the day, nobody's asking to have this business here. So I don't think it's a direct economic benefit to this area. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I always have to talk.
Robert pretty much said everything I want to say. What's that? Danny Blake, 29582 US Highway 6, 29850 Highway 6. What concerns me is we did all this a couple weeks ago. Vote was no. Not coming in. And then we're here again doing it. I don't understand how that works. I mean, I want to call some of my friends up and stuff that this council's voted yes or no towards some of the things they wanted to do throughout the city years. Tell them to get an uprising and have people call in and we can revote.
Council always has the ability to reconsider any action.
Okay. What really bothers me, I'm going to sound like CNN, I've got an anonymous source that sends me a tip. It was the chamber member that riled up the troops. That's what scares me, because there's a lot of businesses in this area that were against this, and they pay into the chamber, and the chamber is the one that is telling people to come to this meeting tonight to be against us. I'm done.
All right, thank you. Any other comments?
I'm Deb Wacker, 29583 County Road V, Victor Brush. A lot of what Robert said is exactly what I would say too, and what Danny said, but I don't own a business in town. I do a lot of business in town, and my concerns are safety. Number one, for the divers themselves. There's a highway on each side of the airport, and that I find terrifying. What's going to happen when one of them misses and lands on the highway and causes someone to swerve and kill a bunch of kids or a family or themselves or whoever? I think that's a big danger. And for the bystanders, I know Blake's were there when one of them died, and they heard the big thud when he hit the ground, and that was pretty traumatic for them. And so I don't think that's a good idea. I'm not a fun hater. I mean, actually, when it was going, we went out there and considered it, and it looked really fun, but I was too chicken, so I didn't do it. But these guys, a lot of these guys, they live on the edge, and they're not afraid of anything. They're wild. They like to party. One night, when my husband and son were up at the sale barn, which, as you know, is right behind, where the airport is, my son, when he was little, he was up playing on the loader, and they went down and went to the shop or something, and shortly thereafter, the loader got shot, and it could have killed my son. And so that, to me, is a major, major issue. When I listen to the estimated income of $176,000, that might be realistic. I don't know. But does anybody know what does it cost to do one jump? Isn't it $200 or $300?
I can't speak to that. I don't know.
It's pretty pricey. I remember that. And so I'm sitting there thinking, well, how many people, because if they're not going to come here and spend the night and spend their weekend in town, they're not probably going to jump more than once or twice. It's expensive. So I see you getting more fuel income, food, but I don't really see the hotels benefiting or anything like that, because I don't see why anybody would come and spend a whole weekend unless they're out there drinking and partying also, because what else are they going to do? I think the businesses in town who want it, they're getting the gravy from it, but they're not having to deal with any of the headaches and the trouble that it causes. I don't know if it would spook livestock. I run livestock up there, but I didn't at the time, so I don't know. I mean, I don't find that to be a giant concern, but I suppose with the right kind of animal it would maybe, but I didn't find that to be a big issue. What about, will it create any local jobs? Or are they just going to bring in their people from wherever?
Is it really gonna benefit us that way? And I agree with what Robert said. If it's so great, why aren't all the airports trying to get it? I mean, really, and if we made that much money in the past, shouldn't we have that documentation? Can we show that we made that kind of money before from it? I mean, I think it was a headache for the landowners out there and the law enforcement, and I just don't think it is the best business that we could bring into this town. I don't think it fits very well. And then just a last question, if this would come up again, how will we be notified? Like, I don't live in the city, I'm not a member of anything. How will we be notified if it's coming up again?
Our agenda is posted on our website, and then also we post it on the front door of the building, right?
And if anybody has specific items that they want notification, you just have to let me, the city clerk,
Right.
know, and I send it.
Yeah, and that's what I would add. Anybody that's interested in, if the skydiving comes back, ask the city clerk if it's put on the agenda to notify you, we will. We're not trying to do anything behind anybody's back.
Well, no, I'm not saying that.
And
I
this
just,
was a late afternoon information that came to staff, is why I pulled it from the agenda. So if it is an interest, if the concern I think somebody had is that it's gonna come back next week, my guess is no, I think this outfit is looking at another place, another airport. So that's why I don't expect this to come back anytime soon, so.
okay.
Right.
Those were my basic concerns as a non-landowner up there and a non-city resident. But,
I understand.
okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
If you want the notification, anyone can, that same form with the questions, you can write down your contact so the clerk gets it on this
Like
topic.
an email?
And yeah, she can give you a
Yeah.
shout.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Just you all smart people up there.
Hey, I have a high school education.
You're better off than I am. 29870 Highway 6. It's your airport, Kevin Blake. It's your airport. It's out of city limits. These skydivers fall. They're not falling in the city. They're falling on me. See the problem? Pretty self-explanatory.
Well, as
And why they're falling, explain this to me. It's an airport. And the emergency landing needs to come down. Oh, we can't land that plane. It's got a busted engine because there's skydivers coming out of the air. Where in the world do skydivers land back at the airport? What if the emergency helicopter had to land and you can't land them because the skydivers are falling? Think about this. It's common sense. They need to land. You don't land back at the airport anywhere. DIA, any airport. You cannot drop back into where you're supposed to be taking planes off and landing planes. It's that simple.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
Pretty simple.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kristen Evelyn, and I live on County Road S near Brush. This doesn't directly affect me. Like, they don't fall on my property. We're on the other side. But as a business owner, I have to say that I'm really disappointed that this is even an option coming up, because I'm going to be fiercely defensive of the business owners that it is affecting. And I would hope that they would be fiercely defensive of anything that would affect our business. And I just don't see that this is a good idea, because we take our cars to Danny and Randy. We give them a lot of business, and so do a lot of people here and farmers and stuff. I don't want anything pelting my window because of something that no one can control. And who's going to pay for that? My insurance? So my rates are going to go up because of something I can't control? I don't think so. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair. And I think you really need to look at calls. Like, go to the dispatch and find out how many calls were made during the times that there was skydivers there. And think about 2 people died skydiving. 2 people died skydiving out there. Is it worth it? I don't think so. I don't think for the income that it's going to bring to Brush, I don't think it's worth the headache. I don't think it's right, and I don't think it's fair to the business owners. Yeah, it may give some business owners in town a boost, but in all reality, is helping some business owners, is that worth negatively affecting other business owners? I don't think that's right. And I'll be honest with you, I'm friends with Danny and Randy, and I go out to their house, and I don't want my kids and my family seeing some of the stuff that I know went on out there. And they say they have designated points where they land. They probably do, but the fact of the matter is they don't always land in those designated points, and I've seen them land in other fields. And you know what they do? They drive out to those fields to go get their buddies. And so they're destroying property that isn't theirs, that isn't the city's, that isn't, the county's. It belongs to private citizens. And I don't care what anybody says, maybe Deb's right that it wouldn't hurt the cows, spook the cows, but we have cows and they're pretty easily spooked, and I don't see how a big flapping tarp in the wind is not going to spook cows. So that's what I'm saying.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Willow Roddy Moskowitz, 34389 County Road W. I actually wrote a statement, and I am the chamber member who rallied some troops against this, but I did a lot of research, and I will explain that in my statement ahead of time. I did reach out to you. I spoke with you for quite a while. My name is Willow Roddy Moskowitz. I'm a realtor with Colorado Land Company here in Brush. Additionally, I'm a wife and mother, PTAC Vice President at Thompson Primary, a Brush Chamber Executive Board member, co-chair of the Chamber Promotions Team, soon to be alternate for the city's Historic Preservation Committee in about 15 minutes probably. I'm an involved member of the Economic Vitality Team through the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm a Rotary volunteer. I'm extremely passionate about our special little city, and I pour my heart and soul into ensuring Brush is advancing in a positive direction. I moved here in June of 2017 and was warmly welcomed by the residents of Brush. I've lived in a handful of other places in both Colorado and California, but nowhere has felt like home to me the way Brush does. This is why I have such a deep love for this community. When I found out about the results of the skydiving vote, I was disheartened. Through my involvement in the community and my discussions with community leaders, I know that economic growth is a priority. Orange Sky Skydiving Company would have brought 8,000 to 10,000 people to our city each year with a projected $150,000 to $200,000 in revenue. Additionally, there would have been 28 employees living and spending their hard-earned money in our community, and this could have made a positive impact for the city of Brush. I spent about 20 hours in the last week researching and conversing with residents, business owners, city officials, and the owner of Orange Skies, and the overwhelming consensus I discovered is that this city wants to welcome new businesses. There was concern over a skydiving operation, but a large majority of those concerns were addressed by Orange Skies and the city administration. Orange Skies was willing to continue working with the city if new concerns arose. Orange Skies is owned by a military veteran who's passionate about giving back to the community, especially through the schools. Brush could have greatly benefited from the revenue and the give back of the operation. As someone who wants nothing but the best for this community, I encourage our residents and officials to consider the overall impact the overall economic impact when making decisions. We strive to be a thriving destination location with a growing opportunity for jobs and overall economic health, and Orange Skies could have been instrumental in helping us reach that goal. I feel that any business wishing to open or relocate to Brush should be considered and researched, and that negative experiences of the past should be addressed and discussed prior to a vote. Many concerns can be remedied if we're proactive about them. I truly believe that Orange Skies could have been an extremely positive addition to our team of businesses here in Brush. My hope for the future is that we warmly welcome new businesses and revenue opportunities in the same way you have all welcomed me to the community. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Melody Christensen, 12280 County Road 36 in Brush. I'm the Executive Director for the Brush Chamber of Commerce. I just want to say good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I want to start off by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to public comments regarding the recent skydiving vote held on January 28th. While the vote didn't turn out the way I was hoping, I do find it ironic that there was a great presentation tonight on recreation and a skydiving business was voted down. It is my view that Orange Skies should have been given a trial period to operate in the city. From what I understand, a conservative economic impact analysis conducted by marketing specialist Tyler Purvis estimated that the city could have gained $175,000 through customers and employees at Orange Skies spending money in our city. It is unfortunate that this is now no longer a possibility, that money will likely be going to another community instead. After conducting research on my own, I discovered just how tight-knit the skydiving community is in Colorado. Many of these other skydiving outfits were aware that Orange Skies was looking to operate here, and many are now aware that Orange Skies was blocked from doing so. So in addition to losing revenue, the city will now have a reputation with a wide-reaching community of skydivers as being guarded not only to skydiving business, but to business development in general. This makes my primary charge as executive director of the chamber that much more difficult to achieve. I hope that in the future, the entire scope of a business looking to make Brush its home is considered. I will make it my goal to be available to council and the community for questions and comments to help make this future a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mitch Blake, 404 Rose Street, El Rose, Colorado. We were neighbors to the skydivers. I know it's a different organization, but different operator, same business. I mean, you go up in the sky, you jump out. It's called free falling for a reason, not accurate precision falling. They scattered everywhere. I mean, every aspect about the business was negative. And I don't see any plus side to it whatsoever. They fill up their gas tanks when they come to town. They fill up their gas tanks when they leave town. Come on. That doesn't help us out any. And yeah, just every aspect of being neighbors with them was terrible. I mean, I'd wake up in the morning, we'd go to work, and I think, it's a beautiful day. The skydivers are jumping. So far, they're doing great. Hopefully, they keep hitting their target so we don't have to deal with trespassers running through our pasture, running through our fields, spooking the cattle. Hopefully, it's a trespassing-free day. You could hear the wind start to blow, and then you instantly knew. Started looking, oh, yep, there goes one running through the pasture. They're missing their target. You know, they can be, the only difference between the ones that didn't know what they were doing compared to the ones that did was the ones that knew what they were doing hit the ground running, grabbed their chute, run as fast as they could. The ones that didn't know what they were doing picked up their chute, and we'd go confront them, and they all had the same excuse was, well, it wasn't my fault, the wind started blowing, or I was trying to land over there, but I missed. And understandable, you jumped out of a plane though. This is our property. We own it, we bought it. Everything Robert said, the amount of money we put into the community, which is great. Not anti-business, we're for more business, but being neighbors to them for that long, and they didn't leave until two of them splattered, then it was done. I mean, it took killing two of them to get this done, but sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. I'm not a very good public speaker, but you know, we did our research too. We were neighbors to them forever, and as hard as they try, like I said, on a beautiful, calm day, they were more accurate. It started getting windy, you just knew they were going to be scattered, just like dropping feathers from the sky. I mean, we figured up everywhere they landed, marked it out on a map. It was at least 10,000 acres in a square unit. You know, and if they want to jump, as like Kevin was saying, take off, rent 10,000 acres. There's plenty of landowners with open pasture that lease land. Drop them out, bust them back over. But we had such a bad experience with the last group that I don't even want to hear that. You know, I want nothing to do with them. They were so bad. And even if the greatest group comes in, I don't see how they can land right there at the Brush Municipal Airport. Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you for your comment.
Can I follow up real quick? I know I already spoke, but.
I think you have a little bit of time left.
Okay. I just want to say, I'm not anti-new business. I have lived in this community my entire life. I was literally born and raised here, And I'm so glad that you find this wonderful, that you find this place like your home. That makes me so happy. But at the same time, I really do think we need to think about the people that are already here and that have been here all along. And you're going to make people mad and they're going to leave. And then what? What happens if they decide to close their business, either one of them, because it's such a headache for them? I just really think that before you proceed with something like this, you need to think about the people that are already here. Yay for new business, yay for new people. I love having new people here. I love meeting new people, but the fact of the matter is we really, really need to think about the people that are already here and that are living it and that are dealing with it day to day. None of you have been neighbors to these guys. And the only people that know are the ones that have been neighbors or the people that have been at these places when this stuff has happened. And it's just something to think about. I appreciate, but I just think about the people that are already here.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Randy Blake, 29582 Highway 6. I've lived here for 20 years. I have nothing against new business. We're business owners, you know. But we were through this when they were here back in, 2004, even before that. And they're thrill seekers. That's just what they are. There were times they would fly out of a plane on a rubber raft. Well, then they would let go of this raft, and it would float across the interstate. They are thrill seekers. That's what they do. And when you live by it, they are a nuisance. They would get to where they were dropping eggs. And I know this is a different group that was trying to come in, but it's the same demographic of thrill seekers. That's how those two died. They had their feet tight together when they were coming down. I watched it happen. I'm glad that it got voted out, and I'm glad that they found somewhere else, and I hope that you guys find another business that can come in that does not fall from the sky. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to number 5, management. 5A. Thanks for everybody's comments, by the way.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. I'll do it again. Okay, 5A, JAG grant approval. Chief Boss.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think you all received kind of the preliminary draft of the JAG grant application. I call it preliminary. There's a few items not included. We've gone out and sought letters of support from various entities within the community to include our hospitals, the schools, the district attorney's office, and those items are not included in this application. So this evening I'm just requesting that the city adopt a resolution in support of the JAG grant and the JAG grant application, which will be turned in hopefully tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. I still have a little bit to finalize on the grant application, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
One thing I liked about this, putting together this task force,
yes,
I think it is a very measurable thing that we can measure. I think it mentions in the report is the number of opioid overdoses that we have in Morgan County.
Yes.
And your guy on the beat can't be doing the things that a task force can do as far as informants and putting together the information to find out the people that are supplying the bigger amounts of drugs.
Yes.
But I think it is a good way to measure that by looking at what happens to our opioid overdose rate in Morgan County
Yes.
if this program is successful. So I sure hope
Yes.
we're able to obtain it. Are there any questions from council about this subject?
So, Chief, you're needing
Yes, sir.
that resolution signed then, for your meeting tonight, or?
Yes, please.
Okay, just so you're aware of that resolution for the grant.
Right. Okay, so we're going to need a motion to approve the resolution.
I move that we approve resolution number 2019-2, resolution supporting the grant application for a justice assistance grant from the Colorado Division of Criminal Justice.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the resolution. Do we have a second? Second. Second? Discussion? Can I hear a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Bain?
Yes.
Counselor Baker?
Yes.
Counselor Becker?
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan?
Yes.
Counselor Scalise?
Yes.
Counselor Sherman? Yes.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Moving on to 5B, deed of dedication. deed of dedication concerning Agri Park Road. Mr. Chapin.
Your Honor, we completed a subdivision plat several weeks ago to create Lot 1 and Lot 2 in the Agri Park subdivision. One of the items that the title insurance company found to be a shortcoming in that subdivision process was that the north arm of Agri Park Road does not connect to the highway. And so Lot 1 did not have access to a public highway. And so what this deed of dedication does is to fill in that gap. On the plat that was recorded, there was a dedication of land for public use. But unfortunately, it stops short of the highway right-of-way. And so what we're doing here is completing that link to the highway so the Lot 1 and any other businesses that develop off Agri Park Road will have access to a public highway.
Okay.
And that's solely what this does.
Okay.
Any questions?
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve or deny the deed of dedication.
One more point.
Oh, yes, sir.
This has been run through the title insurance company. They approved, number one, the idea, and they approved the form of the deed that we're dealing with here.
Oh, it's already, okay. Okay, with that, do we have a motion to approve or deny the deed of dedication?
I move we approve the deed of dedication.
Second.
We have a motion and a second discussion. Your roll call vote.
Counselor Baker?
Yes.
Counselor Becker?
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan?
Yes.
Counselor Scalise?
Yes.
Counselor Sherman? Yes. Mayor Bain?
Yes. Okay, moving on to finance.
Okay, I make a motion to approve city expenditures from February 11th through the 25th of 2019, totaling $214,671.67.
We have a motion, we have a second. Have a second discussion. Roll call vote.
Counselor Becker?
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan?
Yes.
Counselor Scalise?
Yes.
Counselor Sherman?
Yes.
Mayor Bain?
Yes.
Counselor Baker?
Yes.
Moving on to staff reports number 7, Joanne.
I have nothing this evening.
Police Chief Derek.
I have nothing.
Oh, it's not here. Let's see. Fire. Pat? Our fire chief.
Real quick, we're looking at a dedication on Saturday, the 9th. I think we've got a program coming out probably tomorrow, so we'll have times in that whole schedule. So we finally made it.
We made
We're
it.
going to dedicate the building.
Probably
So-
smell like heck, too.
Oh, yeah. And just for your information, we've received some benefits from the AFG grant in the past. We got a washing machine for our bunker gear, and we got a dryer, and things like that all came from the AFG grant. Well, our assistant chief, who does most of our grant writing, has been asked to sit on the AFG review board. And so I believe next week he leaves for a week to go to Washington and sit on the AFG review board and look at the grants for this round. So I think that's a great opportunity for Ray and for us to understand more about the grant and that whole process, at least with the AFG grant. So
Great honor for him to be selected as a
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So
Fantastic. Thank you,
all right,
Pat.
thanks.
Okay, our best and brightest, Matt, do you have anything?
No.
You know,
That
I
caught
really-
me off guard.
I've been thinking about this a lot. I really want to trade positions. One time I'd just like to be introduced as best and brightest.
Yeah, no, it feels good. I'll trade you. I'll sit up there then.
Okay. I'll pick the meeting. Okay, City Clerk Andrea.
Okay. On your calendar, there's a couple additions. I have some tickets up here for the Chamber Ag Appreciation banquet that's gonna be March 9th. And then March 21st at 11:30, it's a Thursday, is the Morgan County Economic Development Annual Meeting at the Country Stakeout. Also on March 21st from 4 to 7 is the CML open house for Sam Mammoth's retirement. So if anyone wants to go to that and you want me to RSVP for you, I can. And Dan, were you going to talk about this?
I hadn't planned
Okay.
to, but,
Well, this, I'll let
no,
you do it.
go ahead.
Okay. We received word last week that the city did receive their CLG designation, the Certified Local Government with Historic Preservation. So this allows opportunities for grants for those buildings that are already designated. So pretty exciting. Lots of work.
The work just begins now.
The work begins. That's it.
Okay, City Administrator, Monty.
Nothing this evening.
Okay, moving on to mayor and council reports. First thing we have, 8A is the appointment of William Roddy, am I saying that right? I thought you said Rodham and I was, okay. William Roddy Moskowitz as an alternate. What did I say?
You said William.
Oh.
You're gonna get ragged by a
It's not the
wife.
worst thing I've
You know, I got it covered right.
Probably not even tonight.
Okay. Okay, we're looking for council approval through the appointment of Willow Roddy Moskowitz to the Historic Preservation Board as an alternate. I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve Willow for the alternate for Historic Preservation Board.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a second. Discussion. Andrea, roll call vote, please.
Counselor Quinlan?
Yes.
Counselor Scalisi?
Yes.
Counselor Sherman?
Yes.
Mayor Bain?
Yes.
Counselor Baker?
Yes.
Counselor Becker?
Yes. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Are there any other council reports tonight?